Jon Erwin, welcome to the program.
Glenn, good to see you, man. It's been a little while. It's great to be among friends. I remember being on your show, release week of a film for I Can Only Imagine many years ago, and Dennis Quaid was on, and we had lost him in the Arctic. He was filming with like a bunch of polar bears or something, and he the middle of the night. So right before I got on the segment, I hear like we've lost Dennis in a town. There's more polar bears than people. And so I'm like, I'm going to go on install with Glenn, and you're going to find Dennis Quaid in the Antarctic. And they did right before we came out of commercial break. So I have many memories.
He had to go back. Yeah, I know. He had to go back inside because he had to get his gun, I think, because they wouldn't allow him to be outside without his gun. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
to get cell service, he had to be like risk his life with polar bears. I digress. Anyway, many great memories with you, man.
I remember, this has got to be 15 years ago, we first talked, and we talked about the problem with Hollywood and that you were setting out and you were going to change Hollywood. And it was hard. At that time, it was really, really hard for anybody on a conservative side to be able to do it. And I have to tell you, Jon, I watched your movie, Young Washington, with such pride and admiration for you on all that you've accomplished and how good of a director and a producer and a screenwriter you have become. It's a great story and a great movie. Congratulations.
Man, thank you so much. We share the obsession for Washington. I read many books on Washington, including yours. And I just wanted to write a kind of a love letter to the country for our 250. And it's the only film in theaters nationwide that celebrates American history as we go into the 250. And I just, it's one of those things where I'm just grateful to the audience because, the audience just keeps shocking Hollywood, and that allows us to do more and have larger budgets, and so it's not easy. The lead, I created the show House of David that airs on Amazon, and the lead of that show, Michael, he gave me this ring. It says "Seek discomfort," and I believe in that as a way of life. So sometimes we say pain is temporary, film is forever. So it's been a hard road, but an incredibly fulfilling one, and I'm just so grateful for the audience for supporting the work, and that's what gets these films made.
Is it out now?
It comes out on Friday, going into the 4th of July weekend. So talk about the perfect date for a movie about Washington. It releases on the 4th of July weekend on our 250th anniversary, and so we're very grateful. It's in theaters nationwide. I'm working with Angel Studios to release it. And so look, we've always said your movie ticket is your vote, and it's more true now than ever. We really want to do more of these stories. We want to do more stories on the life of George Washington. We want to do more stories on the founding of America. And I just know when I took the time to read a lot of books on the founding of the country, the story is unbelievable. First of all, as you know, it lives up to the hype. And you're just filled with a sense of gratitude and awe and wonder and pride that this nation exists at all. And it really is something to celebrate together. And it is a miracle. I mean, talk about low statistical odds of success. And so we want to make more of these films. And it starts with, we thought, where do we start? And I'm like, well, I love the origin story, hero's journey of Washington, where he learns to be a leader. And so that's where we decided to start.
He learns to be a leader, but he really never learns to be a good general. He's really bad at strategy. He loses over and over and over again. I mean, it's embarrassing on how bad he is at the beginning.
You know what's interesting about Washington is he is forged much more by hardship and failure and risk and adventure and than he was by ease, and many of the great leaders are. Churchill the same way. And what I found out about him is, yes, we didn't have any good generals, because we were colonies, but Washington became our first real leader and the embodiment of a cause. And I think he learned over the course of this story early in his life that to lead is to serve, and to lead is to embody something that's bigger than you are. And he became America's first great leader. And what I noticed about him during the Revolutionary War is he had this fortitude, man. Like he had this ability to endure in an uncommon way. And that
Yes.
was really the thing that won the war. And or one of the major things that won the war was just grit. And I wanted to find out where that came from, and it really came from his early life. So I wanted to make this. I've always considered it Pride and Prejudice meets The Revenant. This kind of first
Mm.
adventure story in the French and Indian War, and that's where I wanted to start. But man, I would love. My dream uh, is to tell more of these stories, and we just. I think so many of the problems that we have come from the fact that we don't know our origin story, and we don't know why we're
That's
here
exactly
and
right.
how
That's
amazing this
exactly right.
country is.
That's exactly right. I have to ask you, his, I, I never really, I guess, fully understood or saw it. I'm such an American that I never thought of George Washington having to go to the British and saying, "Hey, I could serve here," and them looking at him and going, "No, you're not an elite. You're of no family. You're of no consequence. You have no education." Where Americans, we don't look at people like that. And it's so weird to see and to think George Washington being rejected because he's not part of the old system. I don't know how to explain it. Once you see the movie, you'll understand. But even
Yeah,
his first real, and I think I'll bet you his real love his whole life. Um,
yeah.
he kind of grew up around, and dad just didn't even, nobody even thought it was possible because he just was, kind of scum beneath their feet.
Yeah, you see the American idea birthed in this idea of anyone, from anywhere being able to do whatever they set their mind to if they work hard enough. I mean, that
Right.
is the idea of America, and that did not exist. And you clearly see that you see the unfairness of a world fixed in a class system with an elite that no matter what you do, no matter how good you are, you could never join just by virtue of your status. And you see this group of people, and you see Washington in this movie say, why can we not make a better world? So it's so interesting how he so wanted to join this group that he was actually destined to defy. And you see that over the course of the film, and you wonder if the first great love of his life had chosen him, or if he was able to get a royal commission as a British officer, which he wanted so badly.
Yeah.
Is there an America today? I don't know. So it's amazing to see these things that happened, uh, that really is, as he called it, were kind of a divine hand of providence guiding him, even when it was painful.
Um, it's interesting to see, what did you find about, and did you even research this far into it? His love affair with Martha. I mean, because I've always felt that the love affair that you see, this crushing love that he has for this woman Fairfax, whose father has hired him to make maps of the county and everything else,
Mhm.
or of his property. Um, I'm not sure he ever gets past that. It was Martha. I mean, I know he loved Martha, but was it kind of the old fashioned because we're married and we're going to love each other, or was there ever really a deep love affair with Martha and George? Do you
Yeah,
know?
I have opinions on this, and you try to research as much as you can. Martha burned all their
She
letters,
burned almost everything. Yeah,
except two. And
yeah.
I was at Mount Vernon, uh, 2 days ago. We got to lay a wreath on his grave, which was amazing, on
Oh
his
wow,
tomb.
that's neat.
And then also we were, in the room that he died, and there's a desk there, and that's where one of these letters was from Martha, tucked away, hidden, like it was just hidden in the desk. But the rest are burned, and the only letters that we have from Sally are from the letters he wrote to her. And so Sally was obviously his kind of first crush flame. There was obviously attraction there. The last letter he wrote her was like a week before he married Martha. I feel like Martha was a business partnership that, and a part, as
Yeah, I think
marriages
so
were in
too.
that day, that actually grew into a bond over time, especially as they experienced difficulty together. And she was out with him during the war. And if you read that one letter that survived, you see that the relationship with Martha blossomed into a real bond, in my opinion, different, than kind of
Yes.
the infatuation with Sally. But I think it grew and grew. and became more and more real. Man, I hope to tell that story. And especially as you get into 1776 and beyond, just the pressure that he was under, I think she was there for him in every way. So these were the two loves of his life, and it's so fascinating to explore.
Yeah, she was not only there for him, but when they went to Valley Forge, I mean, she was there. I mean, no woman is going to Valley Forge. She was there helping, and she was a remarkable woman. Anyway, John, what is one last thing? What is the one thing you learned about George Washington you did not know that you thought, wow, everyone should know this?
Well, as I studied his life, you think about these characters forged in stone, and they're mythic, and then you ask, where do these characteristics come from? And I think what I learned was just the value of failure, that George Washington learned through his mistakes, and he kept going, and he didn't give up, and he was very self-aware, and he forged himself before he could forge a nation. And you see that in this film, in this early chapter in his life. So I think, one of the great lessons for me was that failure doesn't have to define you, but it can mold you into the person that you're meant to become if you'll let it, and if you'll not quit. And this guy had an uncommon endurance, and he learned from his mistakes, and he kept going, and he had true courage. So I think those were the primary things. Other than that, I think his personality was like a lid on top of a volcano. I think that this was not a boring person. This was a person of great passion and great emotion, and his personality was kind of like a lid on that. And so fascinating character, and so I wanted to start with this early adventure. It is in theaters nationwide, and like, as always, when our audience unifies our voice around something and shocks Hollywood, millions and millions of people see it that wouldn't otherwise see it because of the fear of missing out. And that's my hope, and that's my prayer. As we've screened the movie around the country, it's cool to hear people cheer and chant USA at the end of the movie. But what I love is a lot of people say, I was up on Google like all night researching, like, did this really happen?
Yeah.
Because some of the most extraordinary things in the movie actually happened. So that's my hope, is that it will serve as a spark of curiosity for Americans everywhere.
I will tell you, congratulations. State Department is doing screenings now of Young Washington at the embassies all over the world, which is tremendous. And I will tell you as a listener, that stuff is not going to happen. We lose the next, couple of elections. This is over. And it gets really dark. It is so important to support movies like this now, because money doesn't talk, it usually screams. And the only way we have an extraordinary opportunity this 250th year. Again, divine providence, to drop our 250th in right now, where we are politically right now. If this would have happened 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been the same. To happen right now, you have a chance to educate yourself and stop all of this stuff and support the next great storytellers. We lost our story. The left took it from us and has butchered it to death. We must find it again, and we must support great storytellers. And I will tell you, Jon Erwin is one of my favorites and one of the best. And the name of the film is Young Washington. And if you make this, you go to see this, and this becomes a success, I can't wait to see the series that he will make on this, because Washington is the greatest story ever told in American history. He is fabulous. John, thank you.
Agree.
God bless you. Thank you.
Glenn, great to see you again, as always.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.